I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes. I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Hack2House Alberta Curling Series Major, presented by Curling Stadium Beaumont. My name is Shawn Joyce. Happy to be joining you here live from this second event in a row for me, 2 events in a row in Alberta. I was at the Saville Shootout doing some commentary for that one last week. The event in Edmonton last week was a round-robin competition. This one's triple knockout. 18 teams began play last night. So tonight we're going to determine the 3 A event qualifiers who will move on to the championship round. We've got one of those 3 matchups in this game that I'll be calling for you. Dustin Kalthoff and his team out of Saskatoon. Throwing the yellow stones will be facing Reid Carruthers and his Winnipeg foursome. Reid has the red stones. The 2 teams have a practice session before the game begins and draw to the button to determine who's got last rock in the opening end. And it was the Carruthers team winning that draw to the button. First stone for the Kalthoff team brought into the top of the 8-foot. Now Connor Negevin being asked to play the hit. Second for the Carruthers team is Derek Samagalski. The third new to the team this year, Catlin Schneider. And Reid Carruthers is the skip. Hit and roll to the corner of the 12-foot. Matt Ring being asked to make the play on that stone. Like to stay right there. Matt Ring is the lead. The second is Sam Wills. Both of those 2 were on the team last year and have moved down. The new third is Josh Height. And Dustin Kalthoff is the skip. Now, I didn't have a chance to see if the Kalthoff team is playing shorthanded, but I know that the Height family farm is probably in the midst of harvest, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that Josh isn't there this weekend, but we'll keep an eye on that as the game progresses, just get an idea if there's 3 or 4. Open end here so far in the first. The teams are going to want to keep the play in the rings. And it looks like Matt is throwing 3, so I would guess that they are shorthanded, at least for today. I mentioned off the top, 18 teams began play last night in a triple knockout. Well, 18 is not an exactly even draw. This is the 3rd game for the Kalthoff team, their first event. They played last night, played again this morning. For Reid Carruthers, they actually had the bye this last night, so they played their first game this morning. This is just their second, looking to qualify now and get some rest before the championship round starts on Sunday. Middle of the season, they might not want it, but they played a lot of games last weekend. Would like to stay in the rings here. He needs to get to the inside to roll in. I think that was plan B at the end, realizing they weren't going to roll in. They wanted to roll out of play altogether. This gives Sam Wills a chance to try to tuck a quarter around that guard. Not really thinking about stealing out there. You just like to get that early force and get last rock back. And boy, look at the amount of ice they're taking to get around a rock on the edge of the 12-foot. This is 6 feet of curl. Boy, had nice line coming in, but not quite the weight to get there. It ends up being a second corner guard. Now it's the Carruthers team, in this case, second Derek Samagalski looking to come around. Perhaps see if they can't set up a deuce here in the opening end of play. Catlin Schneider on the inside. A lot of room, so they switch to Connor Negevin on the outside now, trying to get some extra curl. Good room by the guard, but boy, it's breaking hard there. Comes to the tee line, just biting the 8 foot. Probably half exposed, but Sam Wills being asked to come down, sit on the corner of it for shot rock. This is off the line earlier than Derek's rock was. They're going to have to go to get by. If they do get by, I'm not sure they're staying on the inside of that rock. Rubs the guard. That ring stays with it, but there's a fairly thick chunk on the guard. Rolls into the full 12 foot. It is still the Carruthers stone sitting for shot. With that little chip on the guard now, the two corner guards are slightly overlapped, so there won't be any runbacks available. Reid's asking Callan to just roll underneath those two. Probably doesn't want to be dead buried. If you're half buried, it protects the one on the tee line a little bit as well. Well, the takeout weight coming from the outside, not as much movement there. He manages to make the hit, but loses the shooter. Can see more of that stone this time than he could on the last attempt, so they're going to look to play bumper weight, try to remove it. If anything, that release looked a little soft, and they jumped the brush right away. By the front one. Makes the hit. Will roll fully into the 8 foot. Kalthoff sits one. But daylight there now, so a chance to perhaps roll a little further undercover, and if he can make it, now he's well in front of the tee line. Sweeping for curl early. Boy, starting to make the big move as it gets inside the hog line. Gets to the nose and maybe just a little bit of a roll, but still open with room. Sticking with the intern here, looks to be probably that same bumper weight call that they had for Sam. Just making sure that Matt's on the same page. I think they're trying to roll under the guard. Just Skip Stones left to come here in the opening end of play. Dustin Kalthoff with his first. Looking to make the hit. And he has room to roll behind cover, but has to flirt with the guards a little. Boy, this is close if it doesn't roll too far. Made the hit just enough weight to get it out the back. Rolls it over, and I think he's hanging on to the 12 foot. There's a good look at it from the overhead. Yeah, he's hung around for a corner of the 12 foot and in behind covered with those two rocks being staggered. Not much Reid Carruthers can do about that, so he's going to look to come around himself. Reid with just a little bit less ice than, I got to remember who was throwing, Matt Ring on his last draw attempt, I think, through the first draw attempt. Well, he's a little full of where the broom was. Broom by the front one. He'll come to rest on the tee line and probably just a little bit more than, well, just a little bit more than half undercover, I would say. Maybe left it a third exposed, maybe only a quarter. Scary in the first end of a game to have to come that tight by a guard when you see how much they swing. Any little rub on the guard and you're giving up 2 here. The other thought is to follow it down, sit on the corner. He's going to stick with the bump. Essentially the same shot he threw on the last one. Can't see quite as much of it, but with that late movement, he doesn't really have to get that tight to the guard. Only has to move it about 1.5 feet if he hits it on the broom side corner. Cleaning early, but brushing a little harder now. Has to get it by the guard. Does. Has probably just a little bit more weight on this one. Clears the back of the rings and out of play easily, so Kalthoff sits 2. Reid Carruthers, or perhaps more Catlin Schneider, wondering, can they come off that stone flat enough to catch the back end of the other stone and get the blank? Boy, it's probably just there. It's not going to look great from the hacks. So he'll be looking to hit the stone. This is going to have some weight on it. He'll be looking to hit this open one fairly thick. Come straight across, catch the back end of the yellow that's just biting. Kill it. And because he hits the back end of it, he's hoping his shooter will continue to roll out of play. Reid Carruthers, final stone with the big weight, looking for the blank. Derek Samagelski on the brush early. They've called it off now. Out through my cameraman a little bit. Made the hit, came across, and I do think he caught the second stone, but his shooter stayed right there. So Reid Carruthers will take a single point here in the first end of play. Dustin Kalthoff happy with the force. He's got last rock in end number 2.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's Ice Pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
Just one more throw, please.
You make moments like these possible.
Calling all curlers, novice to pro. Asham Curling Supply's patented rotator disc system lets you customize your slider right in the store. Velcro attachments make it easy to find the sliding platform that's right for you. Shop Asham Curling Supplies, 700 McPhillips, online at asham.com.
1-0 for Reid Carruthers as we begin play here in the second end. Center guard thrown up to start things off for us here. Now the come around attempt. Slides to the top of the button, is about, well, maybe half buried. Beautiful 6-sheet facility here in Beaumont. 3 A games determining 3 qualifiers. There are also 3 B event games on. You can catch all of the action on the Curling Stadium channels on YouTube. The winners of the 3 B semifinals will advance to a qualifying game tomorrow morning, and the losers of the 3 A qualifiers tonight will be matched up against them. So we'll have 6 of the 8 playoff teams determined after that draw tomorrow morning. The last 2 will require everybody to go through the C event, and that makes for a longer day for those teams tomorrow. First freeze attempt a little bit strong, and so it hung out, ends up in the back of the 8-foot. This one's going to come down, tap that stone. Just enough to get it through the back. Call here is for Derek to come down, remove shot stone, and sit in front of second. They're not worried about getting buried just yet. Well, you pick up the weight just a little wee tiny bit, and it sure takes a lot of the curl out of it. Such big amount of curl on the draws, especially to the corner. Derek makes the hit, but rolls over to the corner of the 8-foot. He is second shot, and Dustin Kalthoff going to ignore it, asking Matt Ring to try to get one around that center guard. Just a little bit light and not able to get by the guard. Does end up covering his own stone at the back of the 4-foot though, so Kalthoff sitting 1, Carruthers second on the corner of the 8, and he's going to look to just come down and sit on top of shot stone for now. Nice line coming in, just enough weight to tap it back, and Carruthers sits 1 behind cover. Sam Wills with the attempt to come around. You saw Dustin Kalthoff run out to join the brush. Just a little bit light, and again crashes on the guard. Don't think they got the shooter into the rings either, and now there's probably room if Reid wanted to play it, he could play red onto yellow. He's outlined the two options. They could play the red onto the yellow through the port, or he could simply guard the port. Concern, I think they discussed, and maybe they're going to discuss some more. The concern in playing the guard is they're worried about the run back possibilities, but the yellow guard on the right hand side just runs into the red and jams on the back one. The other one, you could maybe pick it clean. It's only to sit one back 4 foot. Looks like they're going to play the bumper weight. Saw Reid indicate nose, so nose hit. If you nose hit the red, it'll push it onto the yellow, and off the contact, the raised stone will roll back a little bit, so you shouldn't leave a double. If you were really, really greedy, you might even be able to roll in just ever so slightly off this, but you can't be much more than a hair on the inside or you miss the back yellow. Derek indicating it might be a little firm on the weight. Now they've jumped the sweep for curl. This is still on the outside guard. Boy, I think it touched. I think that touched the guard, redirected it just enough to make solid contact. Whether it touched or not, Carruthers now sits 3. One that was just delivered, his second shot stone. He can make the hit on that, but he's got to roll in to get shot rock. Roll to the outside corner, he might be able to get the double. So playing the out turn, and just because of where the outside guard is, throwing big weight so that he can keep the broom inside of that guard. Has to hold this straight to hold the shooter. Makes the hit. He's going to roll a little bit too far. Will hang around in the 12-foot, but Carruthers sitting 2 right now. Probably a double available on those two. Catlin Schneider being asked to come around. Sit top 4 foot. Accomplish a couple of things with this. You might be able to take away enough of that back rock so there's no a double left available. But even if there is a double, it wouldn't be a double to sit shot. Now this is a long ways out there. Should move if the weight's right. Well, a little strong, comes down, nudges his own stone. Two questions that come to my mind is there a triple there? And if there is it one that Dustin wants to take on here? It's close. I'm not sure if you get the one they just tap back, if you make the double in behind the corner guard. Hard to know from here, and you have to defer to the players on the ice anyway because they've got the true view of the angles. But the way he gestured at that kind of looked like he's thinking we could make one double or the other. We either hit it thick enough to make sure we get the one at the back or thin enough to make sure we come across. I thought it looked awfully close to where he could get all three. This is going to have to come up to get anything. It's a piece of it, just enough to push it all the way across the house onto the yellow, and Carruthers now sits 3. Or thin enough to make sure we come across. I thought it looked awfully close to where he could get all three. This is going to have to come up to get anything. It's a piece of it, just enough to push it all the way across the house on previous attempt. It didn't. This one didn't curl. The first one did. Gives Reid Carruthers a chance to see if he can't get around that guard. If he could put one dead buried, top of the 4 foot now, it could be a steal opportunity here. Connor on the brush right away, and that's a little bit more than a firm clean, so I think he thinks they need to go a little bit for weight as well. Starting to get tighter for line. By the front one. Like to get some 4 foot here. Oh, good job by the brushers. They do pull that right into about a third of the 4 foot. Dead buried, if not a little over buried on the longer guard. Or pardon me, the yellow guard. Dustin's first thought was to come around the other side, play the wide in-turn draw. They did. You saw them discuss the run-back possibility as well. The problem with this wide in-turn draw, if you don't make it, you may not have a shot for your last one. Whereas with the run-back attempt, if you make the run-back, well, you're okay then. If you miss the run-back, if you don't make any contact with the redstone at all, you're rolling away, and Reid can't protect both sides. So Dustin Kalthoff with his first here in the second end. He does have last rock, but he's facing 4 right now. Needs a good come around here. Dustin is quite an accomplished doubles player himself, so very used to jumping up and joining the sweep. First rock this end down that side of the sheet, though maybe a little bit heavier over there. And he's going to be well short of the rings. Reid Reid has to make a decision now. Where does he want to go with this one? You could play that out turn again, come right in. You might want to try to be a little bit shorter. Right now on the out turn side, I don't think there's any way Dustin can get in there with a draw, but he could probably play heavy draw to the one at the back of the 8-foot. If you play to that side again, he's going to try that wide in turn again, but he wasn't very close with the last one. And if it's that much heavier over there, it's going to be a straight guess. The line Cailey was looking at, just corner freeze to the one they just threw. That probably would cut off the path to the back one as well. The way it breaks here with draw weight, I don't think there's any way Dustin Kalthoff has a shot on the out turn to score with a cold draw. I think he'd have to throw enough weight to come to the back one. Reid can kind of take that away and get a fifth one in there with a good come around here. Rusher's just cleaning this time. So must have a little bit more weight. It's out there a bit. Well, that's what I mean. It's going to be hard to get by that one on the top of the 4-foot unless you've got enough weight to bump the back one, but he did just kind of show Dustin Kalthoff how to do it. Trailing by 1, facing 5. This is Dustin Kalthoff, his last stone of the second end. In order to get by the stone at the top of the 4-foot, he's going to actually have to be tight to that corner guard. If he's anywhere near the center guard, he's not getting by, and it's by the stone at the top of the 4-foot. It's probably a steal of 2. This is curling. It's going hard. I don't know if he's getting by the guard. Boy, they didn't sweep that with any sense of urgency. Rattles off the 2 guards, and it's going to be a steal of 5 for Reid Carruthers. They will take a 6-0 lead after 2 ends of play.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next curling stadium.
Well, a couple of bad breaks for Dustin Kalthoff in that second end, and with his final stone, trying to negotiate a tough port, manages to just rub two guards and not even able to get his shooter in and cut the end down. It's a steal of 5 with a 6-0 lead. Reid Carruthers not interested in having any guards anymore. They bring the first one into the rings. On the other side of the coin, Dustin Kalthoff needs some cover now. Asking Matt Ring to throw one corner guard, and even here in the third end, we might be at the point where they'll throw the second corner guard no matter what Reid Carruthers does. This is a shot that you see a little bit more commonly in doubles play. Of course, Reid has played a lot of doubles. No tick zone and the no free guard zone both in play. But when a guard is not on the center line, you can try to move it into the house. And this is something you see, like I said, a lot in doubles play. That's where it evolved. It started to make its way into the 4-player game when you have a chance to move a corner guard. They'll just try to push it into the ring somewhere, and then they'll be able to hit it with their next stone. They'll push it, but it actually ends up on the center line, so now they can't move it on the next stone. Does make it a little trickier, though, for Dustin Kalthoff to throw a second guard without leaving it somewhere where they could be doubled later. So they're going to look to come around it. Touches their own guard on the way by, still on the center line. Shooter comes in for second shot, but it is exposed now, and a chance for Derek Samagalski to make the hit. Makes the hit. He will drive it by his own stone, corner of the forefoot. Shooter stays right there. Matt Ring once again looking for the come around, this time from the intern side. And once again, not going to get by the guard. He'll actually tap it straight back. That was the 6th stone of the end now, so they can start peeling. Derek Samagalski going to make an attempt at driving the guard back, catch the yellow in the rings if he can get them both. Might be able to lose his shooter or at least roll it over in front of his own 2 stones. Does make the double and rolls over to cover his own stone in the 12-foot. Sam Wills with the intern draw here. We would like to sit on the corner of Shot Rock. Going to be a little strong here. We'll slide right by everything and out the back. This is just my first chance to look at this ice, and one thing I can tell you from what I've seen so far, definitely weight sensitive. I mean, if you, granted he's about 8 feet heavy there, but doesn't get any piece of that stone in the tee line, and also if you're a little bit light, you struggle to get by the guard, you could leave them overlapped. Your weight really has to match the broom. A lot of the times you can get away with a little bit light, a little bit heavy and sweep the difference, but you've got to be very close here. Six-point lead, so Reid Carruthers not real interested in using any guards. Peels off his own guard. Just the 2 rocks remaining in the rings now. Dustin Kalthoff, by contrast, needs to score. He's going to have to use whatever he's got. Got to continue to play that freeze. Matt Ring jumps the brush right as soon as he lets go. Line looks to be holding. Maybe a little over eager on the brush there. Ends up coming around that stone on the 4-foot to the back of the 12. Actually, not a horrible place to put it. Maybe not in the third end, you wouldn't call that, but later on in a game, if those 2 stones at the top were all you had to work with, you'd play that come around. Reid Carruthers would still like to get rid of the yellow. The only way to do that, red onto yellow. Catlin Schneider with the attempt, but this is going to over curl. And actually rolls in front of the red stone. So the good thing now for Dustin Kalthoff is it's getting even harder to get at that yellow. The bad thing for Dustin Kalthoff is he still at some point in time has to deal with that red at the top of the 4. And where do you hide another one for now? He's going to look to come right back down and sit on top of that back yellow rock again and have to hope they miss the double run back again. Comes fullback 8 and is buried. And Reid Carruthers is going to follow it down with the draw. I have to admit, this surprises me a little bit. Still, you cut out both of those yellows at the back if you make this shot. I think Dustin's got to be happy with it, though. You're down 6 right now. Your only hope is to have him playing draws in a situation like this, and just hope he rubs something, and maybe you get a chance for a double, and you get maybe 3 back here. Really just cleaning it early. Still has lots of room. They switch. Well, they're still not going hard. comes down, taps the Yellowstone back. It is Carruthers sitting shot in second. Stoney just threw at the back of the 4-foot, is open. And the way it swings there, it does look like Dustin's got room to get to the inside of that stone that was just thrown. Tap it back, roll in behind cover. Looking to make the play on the stone at the back of the 4-foot. Needs to hold the shooter and not going to get by the one at the front. Might not have had quite the weight he was looking for. Needed to get that red. If he gets by, needed to get that red at the back 4-foot. Well into the back 12. Could have done with maybe a couple more feet of weight, and that might have been enough to get it by the guard. So the stone that was just delivered, still open. Reid's going to make a play on it. Talking about just hitting it right on the nose. I think if you could get a sliver to the inside, nudge the other red stone in behind cover, that'd be pretty good too. They're worried about the possibility of a triple, I think, and triple's probably there if you leave it right on the nose. I mean, it's still got to be made. Quad might be there. Makes the hit, stays right there. So what they're looking at, what I'm seeing, the feather tick on the one at the top of the 4-foot. Then kind of come into the pocket of the two at the back. Because you're coming from that angle, the one on the center line is going to go pretty much straight back, might pass the yellow. Looked at it, decided it doesn't look like it's going to go. Quad might be there too. You hit the one on the 12-foot just slightly off the nose, drive it across the face of the one on the 4-footer on the same side as the one on the 4-foot, have it come back, catch the edge of the red, and then it's just a question of whether or not they'll splash around the yellows. They're both very low percentage shots, but down 6-0. It wouldn't shock me to see them try one of those two. Going to play the draw, though, and then when he's tightened up the ice, you have to think he's playing it. We're going to make sure we've got enough weight to come to the back ones. Either one of those two red stones, he can sit on the face of it. Get his single point here, stop the bleeding at least. Comes down to the red stone, back 4. Taps it back. Dustin Kalthoff will pick up his single point here in the third end. Reid Carruthers with a 6-1 lead will have last rock in the 4th.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Calling all curlers, novice to pro. Ashland Curling Supply's patented rotator disc system lets you customize your slider right in the store. Velcro attachments make it easy to find the sliding platform that's right for you. Shop Ashland Curling Supplies, 700 McPhillips, online at ashland.com.
You're watching the Hack2House Alberta Curling Series Major, presented by Curling Stadium Beaumont. My name is Shawn Joyce. A qualifier action here on tonight. Winner of this game will advance directly to the 8-team championship round, beginning play Sunday morning. The loser of this game back on the ice at 10 a.m. local time tomorrow morning with another chance to advance to the playoffs. Reid Carruthers in a pretty good spot early. He's got a 6-1 lead as we begin play here in the fourth, and he does have last rock. Center guard starting things off here in the fourth end. The come around came tight by the guard, actually ends up fully out in the open on the other side. Dustin Kalthoff needs some rocks in play. Gonna just look to come around it. I thought they might actually throw a second center guard right away, but curler's math still works for the Kalthoff team. They're down by 5, but there's 5 ends left to play. So you only have to steal 1 point at a time. You don't have to really get too crazy necessarily with the strategy to do that. Everybody here, all these players have stolen points lots of times before. The only problem here is he's got to do it 5 times in a row just to get to an extra end, and they're struggling a little bit early in this game. Connor Negavan with the tap. Kalthoff sitting 2, or pardon me, Carruthers sitting 2. Kalthoff looking for the tap back. And this has been one of the issues the Kalthoff team has had so far in this game, is that they just are not finding the line. The weight's a little light on this one. I think there had to be more than just the weight, though. That doesn't look like that moved like that on its own now. Whether the release was soft or if it picked, it's hard to know from here. Ends up as a corner guard, and we're late enough in the end now that Derek Samagalski can start peeling guards. They'll look to get the one off the center line first. two choices really. He's got to play some offense here. So you either look to come around the stone at the top of the 8-foot, which was his first indication, or you play a guard somewhere near the center line and you try to put it in a spot where it would be hard, or at least there'd be a risk of jamming it either way. So you'd have to be off the center line just a little bit to do that. And this time rubs the outside guard and will end up just beside the red one. Boy, almost got fortunate. If he could have overlapped it a little bit, it would have been hard to get this one out, because hitting it on the nose, it would go towards the other red. I think it's off the nose enough that he can, even if he does touch the red, he'd probably just lose them both. Dustin and team just can't even buy a break this game. Derek being asked to come just across the face, hit and roll across. He can miss the red right beside it. Not really critical that he hangs on, but he could sit 3 over on the edge of the 12-foot. Does make the hit. A little bit of a roll, touches his own stone on the way by. They're going to look to come around the stone in the 8-foot again. I really like the guard here. You're getting to the point now where there's a lot of catchers when he tries to peel the guard. Not going to get by that stone at the top again, so the shooter is exposed. The other problem that you run into with trying to play that come around is if you make it, that stone at the top of the 8-foot is probably no more than a 4-foot run back to kill the stone you just put in there. Schneider with a hit, little roll broomside. Looking at the hit and roll across, I still think you have to throw the guard here. Opting for the hit. So looking to hit the stone right behind the broom. Try to roll fairly flat across to behind the 2 stones on the corner. He'll make contact, but rolls his shooter through the house and out of play. Schneider with the hit on the 1 guard remaining, rolls across and out of play. So just the 3 stones in the rings now, all belonging to Carruthers. He's got last rock here as we play in the 4th. Just skip rocks left to come, and not as many catchers there now. The center guard probably doesn't help you anymore. Holding him to 2 doesn't really help you, so you're going to have to draw around something. They're looking at coming around the stone on the left as we face the house. It's the right on the overhead. The stone at about 2 o'clock in the 12-foot. The only thing that I see with this is it's possible you could just about make this shot, or you could make it. You could be dead buried. You might not be shot rock. Dustin Kalthoff with his first here in 4. Looking to come around a stone in the 12-foot. Line looks good coming in. Boy, it's going sideways though. Where's this going to stop? It will slide just far enough that it is still the Carruthers stone at the top of the 8-foot, or pardon me, the side of the 8-foot sitting shot rock. The one at the top 8 is third, I think. It looks like they got second shot out of that. And probably about as much separation as they could between that and the stone at the top 12-foot. Reid's still going to play the run back, but there's some space between them. Reid got to the hacks, and I don't know whether it's what he saw or what the front end told him. You could see half of the stone from the outside, so he's just going to try to pick it directly. Eric on the brush, but not able to get by the stone at the top of the 12-foot. They'll push it through the rings and all the way out of play. The second shot stone, that yellow though, now fully exposed. Dustin thinking to come around the 2 stones. I think they briefly discussed the possibility of the double. You make the double. You know that Reid Carruthers probably not drawing with a 5-point lead. He'll hit one or the other. And if you get a bit of a rollout, half a shot, you could steal one. But certainly the draw seems like the more natural way to try to steal. You can get a piece of the 4-foot here. Quick discussion with Matt, though, and they've decided to play the hit. It is a nose hit double. And yeah, neither one of these rocks will be in the 4-foot, but for Reid to score, he's either got to roll off this one, or he's got to nose hit a rock in the back of the 8. He wouldn't have much room to roll. So this might be your better chance to steal. Has to make the double first. This is really curling on him. Going to make contact. He will get the double across the face, but his shooter comes across, kills his own stone. Stays in play himself. Reid Carruthers with his final stone will just be facing one. It's an opportunity for the blank. I don't imagine he'll be that upset if he stays for one here. Final stone, fourth end, Reid Carruthers. 5-point lead, looking for the blank. Makes the hit, gets the roll. And that's handshakes. Reid Carruthers will take the victory here. A 6-1 final over Dustin Kalthoff. Here at the Hack2House Alberta Curling Series Major, that puts Reid Carruthers through to the 8-team championship round on Sunday. Dustin Kalthoff will be back on the ice at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning with another chance to punch his ticket through the playoffs. Still 5 games going on. You can find them all here on the Curling Zone YouTube channel or through the Alberta channel as well. My name has been Shawn Joyce. I'm happy to see you here tonight. Glad to bring this game to you, and we'll look for you for the rest of the weekend as we go through the championship on Sunday.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.